Okay, today we are playing a game on Havana. We are in the Gold SR range, and we will be playing Toes the entire way through. And we are gonna look at the question in the email before we start the game, because I'm not really gonna have much to say about it, so we might as well get it out of the way now. And it is, how would you use Sigma's ult? Would you use it as a starter, or would it be more efficient during the fight? I don't expect his ult to consistently rack up 6Ks, but I want to make better use of his ult. Other than that, feedback would be greatly appreciated. I basically almost always just use it as a starter, pretty much. The only time I don't really do that is if we've got a specific combo we're trying to do, which is fairly rare for Toes. It's usually going to be like McCree or sometimes like Hammond, you know? They're the ones that I've commonly comboed with it. It's not great as a combo ult. But I basically always just use it to initiate the fight, unless I build it up like halfway through the fight, and it still could go either way, in which case I'll use it just to try and like finish off the people that are still in the team fight. But yeah, you know, you're a tank, you have to initiate the fights. Sigma's ult is like the best initiate you can get, pretty much, if you're playing Toes, that is. There's better initiations than that, but for Toes, that's the best you got. Yeah. That's about it. I told you I didn't have much to say about it, so we get that out of the way, now let's start the game. So we're attacking first. That was much too loud. Jesus fucking Christ. So we're attacking first. A bit of an awkward shield angle, because people can shoot our Toes under that one. A little bit high off the ground. I can see Lucio crouched over there, trying to get the shots under it. We are trying to block the enemy Widowmaker right now, and that's always one of my favorite tricks, is to just, like, shove it in her face. I'm less keen to do this ever since they nerfed Sigma's shield, where you can't move it as freely anymore. And, you know, there's, like, other stuff going on at the time, but the low charge Zarya isn't exactly the end of the world if she's getting some shots in on us, but Widow moved, and I'm not such a big fan of, doing that anymore. You can't move it as easily to, like, really bully the Widowmaker anymore. So we can put our shield up right now. There's bad men in front of us. We're really low health. Our shield is full health. Like, we can put it up right now to be blocking the damage, because, like, we're pretty low, you know? Here comes Mei. You know, we've been walled off. Life is very hard like that sometimes. You know, I mean, the best you can do when you're playing against Mei is you have to just be, like, really conscious of the fact she can wall you off and try to, like, position a little bit safer. As a result, try and bait the wall out of her if she's trying to wall you off. But if you're a hero that's got no mobility and you're playing against a Mei, like, Toes gets bullied pretty fucking hard by Mei. It's not exactly a fun experience to play against her. So we do have to also worry about trying to block Earth Shatter as Toes. This is not as easy to do as if we were playing Reinhardt, but tragically we are going to have to try. So we could take our shield down right now, because Widowmaker's dead. That is the main threat that we're really trying to, like, block with the shield right now. You know, blocking Mei and Zarya are cool as well. Zarya died as well, actually. Like, blocking them is also cool, but Widow's the main thing we're trying to block, so once she's dead, we can, like, take it down a little bit more freely, and we had it up there, like, way after we could have taken it down. It's very easy to put Sigma's shield somewhere and then just forget about it. I do it all the time. But you gotta try and, like, keep it in the back of your mind that you need to take it down once you actually, like, move around and start doing stuff, you know, or people are gone. You have to think about it like Reinhardt's shield, but it's harder to, like, do that once you start doing other stuff. So their Ryan by this point has to be getting close to you having his ultimate. Or, well, by now we would safely assume he has it, because we're over 2 minutes in. He doesn't quite yet have it, somehow, but we would should definitely be assuming as much. And that means, you know, we have to try and block it. They now have 2 more inconvenient DPS, because now they don't just have Widow, they've got Hanzo Soldier. So there's more things for us to block now than there were previously, and they're going to be a little bit better at breaking our shield as well. Our shield could be down right now, by the way. It's up, and it's not full health. It's back there, you know. We've forgotten about it again. It happens. Try and keep it in mind. It's taken us a while to realize this one. Oh, yeah, there we go. We looked right at it. Oh, fuck, right, it's still out here. Yeah. I've been there before. Don't worry about it. So, half our team just died over there. This push is pretty much done. Hold on, we just, like, immediately put the shield back up again? It regened a little bit, yeah. Widow did drop low, so fair enough, yeah. Half our team's dead, though, so this push, it ain't gonna be accomplishing very much. We should be trying to back out. And, oh, we let our shield break. It actually dropped to 1, but that was good enough to be broken, apparently. Don't let your shield break. Exactly like Reinhardt, we don't want to ever have the shield break, because then we can't use it if we need it. We had it right there, right? It was back up when Soldier came out the doorway, because that suddenly got scary when he started shooting at us. Yeah, we have it. Like, throwing the rock is the bolder play. At that point, I'm just a little bit scared of dying, because dying at that point would be like a pretty big time waste, and we don't want to do that, you know. So we could have put the shield down and then thrown the rock. It's not exactly like a huge time investment to do that. I wasn't expecting that, but I was talking about the shield at the time, so let me see if I should have expected that in hindsight. It was an obfuscated enough movement that we have some right to be surprised that he did that. It's not exactly what you expect him to do, and it did just look like he walked around the corner. I could see the silhouette through the wall doing it, but from our perspective, you know, it wasn't obvious he was going for that. It's not exactly the obvious play to go for, so, you know, good on Reinhardt, he fucking got us, I suppose. Ryan still hasn't used Earth Shatter, like, he 100% has it at this point. We have to be thinking about it and, like, trying to block it when we can. Like, right there would have been a good time to anticipate that Earth Shatter's coming. He didn't use it, so that's cool. Like, this is a suspicious movement because he's just strayed, like, completely out into the open. Like, team's not behind him, and he's walking very suspiciously like he's trying to get an angle. So I would have put it down right there. If I don't put it down right there, Lucio ults. He definitely wants to try and go in when Lucio ults, so now I would immediately put it down again, because this is the logical point where he would try and go for it. Winston at this point is disrupting him. I would put it down here as well, because Reinhardt players, when they pin someone like that, they love to immediately spin around and ult. So, you know, those are some classic maneuvers they like to go for. He 100% is looking for an angle right now. If you ever see a Reinhardt just shuffling around like this without his shield up, all he's thinking about is, how many people can I hit with Earth Shatter right now? And that's literally all that's in his head. Once again, he didn't do it, but when as soon as you see Orion walking around without his shield up, he is thinking, how many people can I Earth Shatter? He died without using his Earth Shatter still. He could, like, he's so bad. He could have, like, ulted, like, 3 times by now if he was being more efficient, but, you know, we're in gold, so, you know, it's not exactly surprising. Anna, what are you doing? Anna, you can't do that. So here he comes again. Again, he definitely still has Earth Shatter. At this point, he shouldn't use it, so he better not. You know, he shouldn't do it, but I really was expecting him to jump over the edge and try to Earth Shatter. You know, that's like the level I was expecting at this point. Not what he did, though. Oh, Moira. No, Widow. Oh. Okay, she didn't die to the orb on the rebound. I was like, is it just barely going to get 1 diddle in? It did not get 1 diddle in. So, again, he still has Earth Shatter. Oh no, he didn't get the chance. I was like, he's probably going to use it right now. He's probably going to want to use it with the grav. No, he died before he got the opportunity. It's really all I'm thinking about is his Earth Shatter. Because, like, to be honest with you, everybody else is just kind of doing their own thing. Like, we've barely seen most of the enemy team other than Reinhardt, really. To be fair, they were playing some longer range heroes for a while, so it's kind of what you expect. We shouldn't be doing this right now. Nobody's there yet. Like, that's the kind of thing you do in response to somebody going to stand up there. Right now, nobody's up there, so that shield's gaining no value. And remember, we're meant to be thinking about Reinhardt's Earth Shatter right now, because that's the scary part to me. So this would have been a fair enough time to ult right here. Like, this fight, we're pretty committed to it. And there's a bunch of people clustered together. A few of these people are probably low. We know they don't have a defensive ultimate because their Lucio changed to Mercy. So they can't, like, sound barrier this one right now. And a bunch of people were grouped together. Not necessary, as we can see. Our shield really has been doing, like, nothing this entire time. Because nobody has gone to stand up there, strangely enough. And, like, that's the kind of thing you do if somebody goes up there to start being a dick. Then you put the shield in his face to be a dick right back at him. And then things get very gay very quickly. But it's okay as long as we say no homo. So, Ryan, please, finally, he's done it. It's drastically too late at this point, but he has used the Earth Shatter he's been holding for this entire game. So, that went well. We got it there with a minute to spare. A minute and 20 seconds to spare. It doesn't matter that we had time to spare, because this is a pure payload map. That's the kind of thing where if you're on a hybrid or a 2CP map, you go, yeah, because there's the possibility the enemy team doesn't get their turn. Because if it's hybrid or 2CP, and you've got more than a minute left, and the other team finishes in overtime, they don't get the extension. Doesn't matter on hybrid, you get the extension as long as you get it to the end. Or it doesn't matter on pure payload maps. As long as you get it to the end, you're getting the extension. But, you know, people get very confused about how the time distribution goes at the end. If one team gets the extension, both teams get the extension. So the only way you can't get the extension is if one team finished with more than a minute to spare and the other team got it there with an overtime on a hybrid or 2CP map. Payload doesn't count because it's, you know, you've got no hard checkpoints right there at the start. So it would be very unkind if it didn't give one team a turn to attack on a pure payload map, but that's the only way you cannot get the extension. All other permutations of time, you're getting if one team gets the extension, the other team's getting it. So, they're running a Winston at us. This is inconvenient to us as toes. This shield is getting very low at this point. I would have liked to have taken it down while we were trying to deal with the Winston, to be honest, because it's getting real low. It's getting real low, and we don't want it to break, you know. We were probably scared of getting shot by Widow right there, which is fair enough, but we've put the shield back up again. And before it's regenerated any health, so this is very bad shield efficiency. And we've done that just because we're being greedy and like trying to chase these 2 kills down, which we shouldn't be trying to do as toes. We should have been backing up way sooner. So we end up using the shield defensively, and this has now done terrible things to us, and now we've let it break as well. It was very bad shield efficiency-wise. We just got greedy and used it as a result when we could have just backed off and been letting it regenerate. This is going to be a much bigger deal for toes in the near future. Right now, that kind of thing is not the end of the world, because like a 1500 health shield, it regenerates very quickly. Both of those aspects are about to get nerfed, so this is, you know, bad to do now, shield efficiency-wise. It will be even worse once the PTR buff goes in. Anyway, Winston's using Primal Rage right now. We started using Rock Throw right there without really thinking about it, because there's nobody to actually chuck it at, and Orissa's behind a barrier, so we've ended up just using that cooldown for nothing right there, and we could have saved it in case, you know, like Widow or Soldier go out of line or anything, and then we clap them with it. You know, like, I don't like when Toes players do the thing where they use their shots into a barrier and then immediately, like, use Rock Throw after that. Like, yes, I guess this has technically increased your DPS ever so slightly, but, like, it wasn't worth it. You ended up using your crowd control ability. What if Reaper now comes to gank you? You know, less of a big deal if there is a Reaper. It's just like, it's a pretty long cooldown. And it's your hard crowd control, so it's not a great thing to waste. I'm overblowing the situation we were just in, but, you know, it's worth bearing in mind. I hate when people do that. So, Soldier's definitely upset about that one. We played the fight with Soldier about as well as we possibly could, outside of, you know, aim better. We did the shield dance, we occupied all of his attention. It's just, unfortunately, they were pushing the payload behind us, so they still captured the checkpoint, but you know, we did successfully negate the tack visor, and, you know, that's all we were probably going for at the time, and we definitely did do that. It's just, you know, unfortunately, nobody was touching the payload at the same time, so life is hard. So Tracer just killed a couple people. This is, like, terrible news for us to, like, be playing against Tracer as Toes, really, because, like, it's very hard to hit Tracer with the rock. It's such a slow projectile that, with a very big telegraph. It's usually not worth going for the rock throw on Tracer unless she's focused on something else. Like, right there, she wasn't looking at us. We missed, you know, whatever. If she, like, is aware of you in any way, there's, like, no chance you hit the rock throw unless she's, like, absolutely terrible. And you're better off just going for the left click on her instead, because if you can get a decent left click into Tracer, you're gonna force her to use recall or back off, because you do a lot of damage on your left click, and it's easier to hit the left click on Tracer than it is the rock, unless she's not paying attention to you. Here, a lot of bad things are happening. There's just some general things with Toes against Tracer. It's hard to hit her with rock if the rock throw if she's aware of you. Genji similar, but Genji is easier to hit with the rock than Tracer is, but much the same. You're usually better off going for the left click still, unless like the Genji is occupied or using deflect in front of you, because deflect don't block the rock. I'm a little upset, to be honest with you, that Genji can't deflect Dwayne back at you, because that would just be fucking sick, basically, but, you know, I guess we have to have a projectile that does not get eaten by Defense Matrix, or a Gravitic Flux, or, no, Kinetic Grasp, not Gravitic Flux, and deflect, even though, you know, by all accounts, it should absolutely get blocked by those things, but, you know, the game just gets a little bit less consistent every fucking update, doesn't it? So, where's our shield right now? Did we put it in front of the sniper, I'm assuming? Right here? I wasn't looking. Yes, we did. Fair enough. Like, that's very annoying to have to deal with that if they were the enemy team. It does make it harder for us to, like, touch the payload, to be having our shield doing that, but it makes it much more annoying to deal with the Widowmaker. Right now, we should definitely reposition the shield to sit in front of this amplification matrix, because we all want to stand behind the amplification matrix, and they do not want us to stand behind the amplification matrix, so we should have repositioned the shield for that one. And, you know, once we're going out to try and touch the payload, it's gonna be that way. This is, you know, common sad story when you're playing Toes. You start using your ultimate, and then, like, this happens, or McCree uses Deadeye, and you end up being fucked because you're in open space. It's similar to when you're playing Mercy. You use Valkyrie differently depending on the things that are on the enemy team, because if there's a McCree or a soldier, you have to be careful, or Bob, I guess. You have to be careful where you're positioning while you're using Valkyrie, because if those two people use their ultimates, you're dead. Toes is the same way, where if they have a big ultimate like Deadeye or Self-Destruct like that, and you're just floating out in open space using Gravitic Flux, you're gonna get fucking clapped. So you gotta be careful with how you position during Gravitic Flux when they've got ultimates like Self-Destruct or Deadeye, because you can get caught out, and you're dead. Like, Toes does not move fast enough while he's using Gravitic Flux to get behind cover if you weren't thinking about it. It isn't a thing, like, most of the time you have to worry about with Toes, really, but it's one of those things to bear in mind when you're playing against certain heroes, you know. So we just got stuck, very sad. We did take it away from the Widowmaker that was next to us, so that's good. She didn't end up dying. I hate that. I hate when people get stuck and their gut instinct is just to continue walking backwards, which is almost invariably backwards into their teammates, where they're going to kill everybody with Pulse Bomb instead of just themselves. If you're playing McCree and you got stuck, do not back up into your team. Just roll into the enemy team. You're fucking dead. Don't kill your teammates as well. So they got it to the end right there. Life is hard. To be honest with you, like, a lot of people got picked off repeatedly during that, so we have limited options in regards to that, but generally speaking, we're not really... We're trying to be very cute with how we position our shield a lot of the time, which is not very beneficial when you're trying to control space. Like, we put it in front of the Widowmaker. Yeah, that's really annoying for the enemy team, because now they can't shoot Widow properly. Simultaneously, though, we're the only shield on our team, so and we have to go and stand on the payload. So if the shield's up there with Widow, it's not going to help us stand on the payload, which is what we, like, really have to do, you know, so... and then you're, like, putting it up in, like, the enemy Widow's face and stuff like that, you know, gotta be careful when we decide to do that stuff, especially if we are the only shield on our team. We should have taken our shield down by now, also. Very close to breaking, nowhere near any of us right now. Okay, we figured it out right at 41 health. It didn't break, that's the important thing. Still not great efficiency-wise. Oh, she's AFK. Still not great efficiency-wise, but we got there, and that's the important thing. Better late than never, as they say. So, right here, we started using Kinetic Grasp. The Kinetic Grasp is not doing anything right here, and, like, I just want this Diva dead. You can cancel Kinetic Grasp with Rock Throw, the creation. Everybody understands Rock Throw. I try to use the actual names rather than, like, left-click, Shift-E, you know? But, like, everybody knows what Rock Throw means. There's no need to go, like, a creation, you know? Anyway, it was better to just, like, Kinetic Grasp wasn't going to do anything there. We should have just cancelled into Rock Throw to try and kill the Diva faster at that point. So, lots of annoying people. Ah, he stepped on the trap. Perfect. No longer annoying. We ate her halt, which is very inconvenient for her. She's definitely not going to be happy. We should have put our shield down by now. Just, like, kind of just block these people right now. They're all gathering on that side of the doorway right now. Just block them, you know, we're healthy right now, but, you know, who knows what's going on with our teammates behind us, right? Right there, we saw Sombra dropped really low. We can try and put the shield in front of Diva right now instead of just trying to shoot her. It was an awkward angle to try and block for the Sombra, but we're trying to keep people alive, you know, so if we see Sombra's low getting chased by somebody, if we can't, like, grasp or stun them, then we should try and put the shield so they don't die, if at all possible. People dying is bad. Generally speaking, we're a tank, we're trying to keep people alive. There, May's behind us, she's got hacked, so she's upset about that one. Don't need to put the shield down yet, this is just letting them do so, yeah, we figured it out. That's just letting them do free damage to it at that point. We weren't in a position for it to actually block for us. We would be justified just using Gravitic Flux right there and then. It ended up not being so great because Orisa used Fortify and... Oh no. Okay, no one died. Junkrat killed Anna right as we did it as well, so that's just unfortunate, like, timing-wise, because if we got Anna as well, that would have still ended up being fine, even if Orisa used Halt, or Fortify, not Halt. But, you know, unfortunate timing happens. So, Diva's up to no good up there. She's like a very old... Yeah, she's finally out of mech. Now she's behind us, you know... She's dead now, they took care of it, great. I was gonna say we have to bear that in mind, but they're gone. So, we should reposition the shield. We were blocking Hanzo with it, which was a fair dream, but now we've got to block the Orisa, because she's the more pressing threat than Hanzo at that point. They're doing a lot of staggering at this point, which is making it very convenient for us. May's hacked again, so she doesn't get to freeze on this payload. Reinhardt's coming up on that left-hand side. We obviously can't know that. I was looking at the silhouette, but he's coming. He's here. He's going to get pushed in there and bullied. They're just coming in one by one. It's making it very easy for us to just get a lot of free pushing in here. We're playing really passively right now. Like, we should be more up than we were right there, getting ready for, like, a bunch of people to be stood behind these hangar doors. It's not a hangar, it's a fucking warehouse. You know, like a werewolf, but instead of turning into a wolf on a full moon, you turn into a house on a full moon instead. That was a bad joke, I'm sorry, and I'm pretty sure I stole that from something I saw on, like, Twitter the other day as well. You know. we've been here for a while. I gotta fill space somehow, okay? Leave me alone. I pride myself on being able to maintain a train of thought for more or less the entire video, whereas I watch a lot of people that do these kind of videos, and there's a lot of... Oh yeah, you shouldn't have done that right there. You should have, you know, shot the man instead of missing the man. Should have ulted there instead. That's a lot of what you see, which is not particularly engaging content. So, here, we messed up the aim a little bit because we, like, cut in front of the payload, I think. Don't think that was intentional. I'm pretty sure we wanted to try and go for the big cluster of men. Yeah, we 100% did and just, like, misaimed it on the truck a little bit. We still got 2 people with it, you know. It's not as good as it could have been, but we got him. We tried to kinetic grasp May's ult right there, but we were a little bit too slow to actually do it. You know, playing Toes, a lot like playing D.Va, you can eat ultimates, so you want to try that if you can. It's harder to do as Toes because your ability to eat them is cooldown gated, whereas D.Va's is resource based. It's kind of also cooldown gated, but it's resource based more than anything else. So it's harder to do as Toes, but it's one of those things to, like, try and practice, like, predicting when people like Zarya and May are gonna ult, you know, Pharah as well, because you do have the potential to completely no-sell ultimates, but it's hard to do with Toes, you know. His hitbox on Grasp isn't as good as Defense Matrix, it's cooldown based, it's a lot harder to do, but, you know, it is one of those things to bear in mind. Very hard to react to these things, you know, it's more often you have to, like, get used to, like, reading when people are gonna go for that kind of thing. It's very hard to react to things like May's ultimate or Graviton. With Graviton, it's frequently impossible to react to. You have to predict that she's going to use it. Anyway, so they've got a long-ass way to push. We have gotten, like, badly caught right now. We have been badly caught. Yeah, we're just kind of, like, out in the open without our shield, and then our gut reaction was use Kinetic Grasp, but it's, like, mostly Zarya that's threatening us, and then Reaper appears. We can Kinetic Grasp Reaper, we can't Kinetic Grasp Zarya. We should have put the shield down first, so that we could at least shield dance with that as well, but mostly just being that far up in the street is very risky, because if you end up in that kind of position, there's nowhere to fall back to. There's no cover, because you're just in the middle of the street. And even if you're playing a tank, you have to bear in mind what you're going to use as cover, because invariably you don't have your shield available 100% of the time. You have to go and use cover sooner or later. So you still have to be thinking about what cover can I use, even if you're playing tanks. We got claps real fucking hard and fast right there. Yeah, we're just, like, looking at Reaper more than anything else, which is understandable, but there's still the entire enemy team over there as well. Like, positioning-wise, we're just pushing up, like, real hard and real fast to try and, like, touch the payload. It doesn't actually matter if they capture that checkpoint, because they aren't getting a time extension from capturing it. We're on the second round now. We're on the 4th round now, so they aren't getting any extension. We don't have to, like, rush to, like, go out and touch it. We can concede ground and wait for our team to be in a better position. Or for when we can position better. We don't have to, like, worry about rushing up to touch it unless they're about to win, you know? Like, a Winston right here is going in too soon, to be honest, but such is life, you know? This is something to bear in mind when you're playing against Reaper as Toes. If you use Grasp first, the Reaper should predict that you are going to use Rock immediately after you come out of Grasp, if not before you end the Grasp. You do want to end the Grasp first, otherwise you don't get the shield, by the way. People commonly, like, absorb a bunch of damage, but then use Rock Throw before Grasp is finished. You don't get the shield till the end, so you have to, like, wait to do that. We didn't do that there. Very common thing with Toes. If you interrupt it, you're not getting it. But he should predict that you're going to do this, so it's one of those things where, as you're coming out of Kinetic Grasp, just give it, like, half a second to see if he is gonna use Wraith Form immediately, because then he's gonna go right through Rock Throw if you just use it immediately. So just, like, give it a second. He's not gonna one-shot you coming out of Kinetic Grasp, right? You can give it a little bit of time to wait and see. I think Grasp came up right at the end there. Yeah. So if you're, we probably didn't know it was that close, but if you're waiting for a cooldown to come up, just hold the button down. If you're crowd-controlled as well, if you're holding the button down, it's going to use it as soon as it becomes available. Does not work with ultimates, though. Only basic abilities. It'll use it as soon as it becomes available. We were probably going to die regardless right there, but, you know, we had Kinetic Grasp, so we could have at least stalled it out a little bit longer, ideally. So the fight's still, like, going fairly well in our absence, to be honest with you, and, hey, she just went too far away from the payload, and it didn't matter if she stayed on the payload. They were losing that round right there. Yeah, Share Factory, PS4. I guess we were on console that whole time. You know, you found out in the end. So I'm interested in learning to draw, which is why art stuff has suddenly shown up in this, by the way. I cannot recommend anything because I'm still back, but you know, whatever. Super iPad Wolf's great. Uframe Plus is also good if you're interested in like video game animation stuff. It's just kind of interesting, you know. And yeah, you know, stuff. The Hallminster Switch, by the way, theme from Final Fantasy XIV, that's a slapper. Recommend. So, basically shield management and positioning. Shield management and shield positioning, not just positioning in general. But shield management and shield positioning stood out the most. Just like inefficient shield recharge stuff, like letting it sit around when it should be regenerating, forgetting it's placed somewhere, which is really easy to do, but still like bear it in mind. You know, trying to do a lot of like real cute stuff with it, where we're just like putting it in people's faces and like putting it for our Widow, you know. Nice to do, but if we're the main tank, we have to be a little bit more frugal with how we use our ability. We can't just use it to like bully people, unfortunately, as much as we all want to. And yeah, that's what stood out the most in that one, basically. So, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered your question from the email inadequately, please let me know, and I will try to expand further. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. I've started streaming on Twitch, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 8 p.m. EST till midnight EST. There's a link to the channel in the description. And if you managed to make it all the way through the video and somehow still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future, and I hope you found the video helpful.